A report claims two-thirds of working families in Plymouth will be worse off because of planned benefit cuts. The City Council study says 12,000 households will be detrimentally affected.
The Chancellor announced savings of £12 billion from the welfare bill in July, which, with changes it says, are vital and fair. The Council says it means a loss of up to £60 million for households across the city. Jenny Kumar reports.
Shirley Cooper has depression and an eating disorder. She gets around £100 a week in employment support allowance, and these payments recognise that she's too vulnerable for intense job hunting. But changes announced this summer could mean she'll lose a third of this income in the future.
Having worked so hard to get to that point of being recognised that I've got a condition that means I can't work, I can't sit in job search and do what is required on the job seekers allowance. You know, now they're kind of saying, well, that doesn't matter. You know, you don't matter. All that matters to the government is saving money.
This summer, the Chancellor announced a range of cuts to benefits to help save £12 billion from the welfare bill and reduce the deficit. They include freezing benefit payments so they don't rise with inflation for 4 years, lowering the benefit cap to £20,000 a year, and cutting tax credits.
When you take already low amounts of money out of people's pockets, the effect of that is that it does force people into debt, it does force them towards destitution. We're already seeing quite a few people with problems like being unable to pay their rent, unable to meet their bills and so forth.
The government says it's introducing other reforms to help compensate people for the benefit cuts. These include increased personal tax allowances, reduced social rents and more free childcare. A new living wage of £9 an hour will also be phased in.
The government's bringing in £60 million worth of benefit changes from April next year, and it is saying that it will bring in £40 million worth of different sorts of income into families by the end of the decade. Well, that's still a gap of almost 20 million, and it's by the end of the decade when the cuts they're making are next year.
There's growing concern amongst some Conservative and opposition MPs about the cuts. We'll find out in next month's autumn statement whether the Chancellor will bow to pressure to tweak the reforms. Jenny Kumar, BBC Spotlight, Plymouth.
Well, Oliver Colville is the Conservative MP for Plymouth, Sutton and Devonport. I asked him if he accepted some of his constituents will be worse off because of cuts to benefits.
Well, I don't totally know that, because at the end of the day my understanding is that the concerns which the local authority have produced have not taken into account increases in personal allowances, the increases in the living wage and those kind of things too. So I think it would to actually say that this is a done deal, certainly it isn't, and I think we need to actually have a much longer look at all this.
The people behind the report, though, make the point that the welfare changes come into effect next year. Things like the living wage will be phased in over a decade, so there will be a gap where people will be worse off.
Well, one of the very big issues, of course, has been to try and make sure we rebalance the Plymouth economy, which I've been talking about for the last 5 years. And indeed, that is about getting imminent investment into our city, building up our skills, because we are a low wage and we're a low skills economy. We've got to make sure that that happens. But that's the reason why I campaigned the last 5 years to make sure we got the city deal and obviously an enterprise zone, which is going to deliver somewhere in the region of 1,200 new jobs in the maritime industrial campus as well. And I'm also, I have to say, somewhat concerned about the way in which the Labour Party is going, because they're now, the leader of the Labour Party is talking about getting rid of the nuclear deterrent, which would have a significant impact upon our dockyard, which employs around about 25,000 people. So it is all rather a muddled issue as far as the local Labour Party is concerned.
Well, there seems to be some division within the Conservative Party as well. We keep hearing that there are many of your colleagues who are deeply concerned about these changes which affect working families, the very people you say as a party you want to support. How comfortable are you with the Chancellor's plans that will impact on working families?
Well, I've come to see you rather than going to a meeting with the Chancellor, because I thought it was more important that we made sure that I tried to correct some of the imperfections which have been suggested. But there are some things which no doubt are going to happen during the course of the next few months. and because the measure at the moment is in the House of Lords and will come back to the House of Commons, and we'll just have to see what happens. What we do have to do is we have to make sure that we sort out the deficit, because if we don't do that, we can't pay for anything.
OK, Oliver Colville, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.